Hello, hello. There we go.
Okay. Mayor Pro Tem Kearney?
Here.
Councilmember Cuevas?
Here.
Councilmember Suarez? Councilmember Talavera?
Here.
Mayor Poland Miles?
Here.
All members are present except for currently Councilmember Suarez.
Okay, we're going to do our ceremonial portion. I'm going to ask Councilmember Talavera to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by Pastor Dwight Dudley from Chavery. Thank you.
Place your right hand over your heart. Ready to begin?
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing.
Good evening, family. It's always a joy and a pleasure to be here and to share the word. I always love my brother Pat here. I can see he's got his Marine Corps Class C's on. That's Christmas uniform. Praise God. Lord is good, and he says this. He says, wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore, get wisdom. And in all you're getting, get understanding. Exalt her, and she will promote you. She will bring you honor when you embrace her. She will place on your head an ornament of grace. A crown of glory she will deliver to you. That sums up this council and the wisdom that you guys have and the love you have for the community and gaining understanding and just ministering to this beautiful city that God has given you. Father, we just thank you for this council and the members. We thank you that they're here to serve this community and make it greater. Father, they look forward to what you're going to show them, the events that will come up, take place. But Father, mostly that you're going to give them wisdom, understanding, and knowledge how to deal with each of the situations, circumstances, each thing that these folks of the city come and present to them to get opinions and understanding and the things that this city needs. So Father, we thank you for this council, who judges fairly, who considers everything that is brought before them, and then resolve whatever needs to be resolved. Father, this is an awesome council. They love you. Father, we lift up, this is entering into the time of Christmas, and so I lift up our sheriff's department, our fire departments, each of the departments of this city that will be working Christmas while the rest of us get to be home with our families. They'll be on the street, they will be ministering, they'll be helping. So Father, we pray that you bless them where they are, bless their families, and bring that peace into their hearts that they need. Protect them, watch over them, and keep them safe. And we lift all of these servants up to the Lord Jesus Christ. And in Christ's name we pray. Amen. Merry
Amen.
Christmas, guys.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, just for the official record, Councilmember Suarez is now present.
Yes, ma'am. Let's hear from Lieutenant Osborne from the LA County Sheriff's Department for a public safety report.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and the esteemed members of the City Council and the members of the community. I'm Ricky Osborne, the Lieutenant of Lawndale, and I will be presenting the public safety report for December 1st through December 15th, 2025. I'll begin by discussing our notable arrests and investigations. On December 5th, at approximately 16:30 hours, Lawndale deputies were alerted to a stolen vehicle in the area from the city outboard cameras. Deputy Ruiz located and stopped the vehicle at Rosecrans and Prairie Avenue. He contacted the driver and sole occupant of the vehicle. He detained him pending the stolen vehicle investigation, and after the investigation, the driver was arrested. He was charged with felony driving a vehicle without owner's consent, and he is not a resident of Lawndale. On July 9, 2025, a vandalism occurred in the city of Lawndale, and OSS Detective Seha was assigned as the lead investigator. During the investigation, Detective Seha discovered the identity of the suspect, who is an associate of the criminal street gang Lawndale 13. Detective Seha authored a location search warrant to locate any evidence linked to the crime. On December 10th, OSS detectives served a search warrant in the 16800 block of Grevilla Avenue. They arrested 2 individuals, including the identified suspect. They recovered a loaded 9mm firearm, ammunition, and gang indicia of Lawndale 13. The suspects were arrested for ex-felons in possession of a firearm, vandalism, and probation violations. Both suspects are residents of Lawndale. During the reporting period, Lawndale deputies made 11 misdemeanor narcotics arrests for possessions of various types of narcotics and possession of drug paraphernalia. Regarding traffic incidents, during the reporting period, Motorcycle Traffic Enforcement Deputy Morales issued 66 citations during the reporting period for various violations, including vehicle code sections such as failure to stop at a stop sign, failure to stop at a red traffic light, and speeding. And lastly, I would like to let everyone know that Lawndale Sheriff deputies will be conducting a DUI patrol saturation in the city of Lawndale this Thursday, December 18th, from 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. The operation will be funded by the California Office of Traffic Safety. This concludes my report, and I will be happy to answer any questions the council may have.
Thank you for that report. Any questions of the lieutenant's report? Thank you, Lieutenant. Okay, we're on Oral Communications now. Oral Communications, where you have the opportunity to speak to this body on items that are not on the agenda. If you would like to speak to this body on items that are not on the agenda, you may do so at this time. Please line up by the flag. When it becomes your turn, just simply approach the podium and start your presentation. At about 2.5 minutes, the amber light will come on to give you the signal to wrap things up. You don't have to wait for your name to be called. Just simply approach the podium once the person before you has concluded. Let's have our first speaker. Yes,
I'm
sir.
Ray Haller, Lawndale homeowner in Southwest Lawndale and retired aerospace engineer. Honorable Mayor, City Council, City Manager, and staff. I'm thrilled to be back here. And so I want to say that there was a lot of discussion at the South Bay City's COG last week about the Metro Sea Line Extension to Torrance project, about whether they should change their position from neutral to something else. One of the public speakers said we should trust Metro. Let's take a step back. 10 years ago, LA County voters approved Measure M to support various transit projects, and before that, Measure R and Propositions A and C. We all pay 2% sales tax for those 4 measures. Was it worth it? Current Metro weekday ridership is almost $1 million riders a day. That's a lot of people. But about 12 years ago, ridership was about 1.5 million riders a day. Metro has lost about 1/3 of its ridership, 500,000 weekday riders per day lost, despite spending billions of taxpayer dollars, hard-earned funds. Why should we trust Metro? Think about that the next time you pay sales tax. Ridership. Higher ridership means less traffic congestion and less air pollution of all kinds. Ridership. We should be favoring higher ridership options when building new infrastructure to help recapture those 500,000 weekday riders per day lost. And I lost my place here. And that means Hawthorne option, more ridership for the Sea Line extension to Torrance with its 35% higher ridership than Hybrid Road. Got lots of value out of this chart here. But what about cost? And Hawthorne, for perspective, the only goal related to cost stated in the FEIR and DEIR as a project goal is to, quote, provide a cost-effective project. Nowhere is lowest cost a stated goal. Otherwise, no build option would be the best choice, followed by high-frequency bus option. When evaluating cost effectiveness for an extra 26% extra cost, Hawthorne option would provide 35% more ridership. Hawthorne option is better with lower cost per rider, and even Metro concedes this when they count all the riders who would use the 2 new stations in Redondo and Torrance. Hence, the Hawthorne option is more cost-effective than Hybrid Row, better satisfying the only cost-related project goal stated in the FEIR. But the Hawthorne option advantage is better than that because the cost gap between the 2 options is not supported by labor and material data inside the AR or the construction schedules, where the supposedly cheaper Hybrid Row takes an extra 15 months of construction time, and that's all in the neighborhoods of Lawndale and Redondo. An extra 15 months construction time for the Hybrid Row over Hawthorne Boulevard option. If a train is to be built, please support the Hawthorne Boulevard option since it is more cost-effective with higher ridership. We'll miss you, Honorable City Manager.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, Caitlin Coulter, Lawndale Library Manager. I just wanted to let everyone know that our Winter Reading Club has started today. There is an online sign up for it. We have a goal countywide of reading 1 million minutes. All ages can participate, so you can sign up online and log your minutes toward that goal. It goes now through January 12th. Our Reading Buddies program has started, so students ages 5 to 10 can sign up to practice reading with a high school volunteer. You can call the library, parents call the library to get more info about that. We're screening a lot of movies in the upcoming months. We got a movie license, so we're taking advantage. Home Alone will be screened this Friday afternoon at 3 o'clock, so parents looking for something to do with their kids on the first day of break can come out to that. And in early January, we're going to be having a History of Lawndale program for adults. And on the 14th, we're going to have 2 screenings of a planetarium event. We have a blow-up planetarium that we're going to set up inside the meeting room. Families can sign up for one of 2 time slots for that, and we will be learning about Mayan archaeastronomy, and registration for that is online. Thanks.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and City Council. My name is Dr. Osborne. I'm from Redondo Beach. I'm going to do something slightly different today. What I did was I asked Google certain questions. I started with ones that I knew the answer to just to check them. And I'll tell you the bottom line first is that they verified every question that the BNSF rep that was here answered to me. Okay, that's not what Metro has in their FEIR. Okay, so my first question was, what is the BNSF physical separation requirement between freight track and LRT? BNSF requires a horizontal separation of 25 feet from the center line of the freight track to the center line of the nearest freight rail. I knew that, and that was in the BNSF spec. And then I asked, what about if it's a trench configuration? And they say the same thing, 25 feet, but they say if you can't do that, because you can have crash walls. If the crash wall is only 12 to 25 feet from the center line of the freight, it must be 6 feet above the top of the rail. And if her clearance is less than, it must be 12 feet above the top of the rail. That means to me that we are going to have a bunch of crash walls on the row. It's not going to be scenic. All right? Now let me just, I then asked the question, what if BNSF does not own the row anymore but still has its train? The thing said BNSF is the final authority on safety requirements. They have to be agreed. They can agree with Metro. Metro can negotiate. But BNSF is the final authority. And so then I asked, if there is 25 feet, then there's a requirement that the BNSF has 25 feet empty between this and the edge of the row. And I said, can Metro put pipelines down there? And the answer was, this 25 feet is not supposed to be for new pipelines, okay? It's supposed to be empty. And then it says, if you're in a situation like this, you should move the pipelines totally, which is exactly what the BNSF guy that was here, move them out, or you might have to put an easement on the neighbor's property and stick them there. Or you might have to have eminent domain, okay? So you watch out for eminent domain and all these things they don't tell you about, and taking property, and I'm going to mail this all into you as it's sort of a mess of questions, but I'm not quite as scripted. But you've got to get the message that this is not a space to put new pipelines. It says that clearly, okay? Thank you. I'm done.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Again, I want to thank Sean Moore. Kind of get to say goodbye to you one more time. I hope you take the minute more with you. That's still very enjoyable. I'm glad you came up to that. I thought that was very cute. No, I liked it. And again, you've done a lot for this city. I know you probably want 3 minutes or more. But also, for just a couple of quick things, Nick and Jack came out, right? Jack? Yeah. Nick and Jack came out. We weren't that thrilled about our street being repaved. They didn't do such a good job, but they came out and chatted with me. So they're always willing to come out and talk and good stuff and everything. Also, I wanted to let you know, here's another one. There's a mirror or closeted door on 14707 Condon Avenue. It's got a huge crack in it. It's leaning against a fence. It's been there for 3 weeks or more. Very dangerous if it breaks on the sidewalk. Again, people, I don't know if it's a rental in front of it. Nobody calls bulk trash to pick this big stuff up, and it's a hazard. Anyway, also, I collected this whole stack of cards that they put on cars every other week. So they put 2 on every car, so I collected them all out of my block and got rid of them. And also, one more thing, please pack your kindness. I need you to pack your kindness too when you go. And one more thing, the lieutenant was right. DUIs at this time of year are horrible. As you see the news, it's just constant accidents and death. And it's never, of course, a drunk driver. It's always an innocent person or more. And it just is horrible. So I hope the public and community really realize there's so many other opportunities out there to get a ride, share a ride, get a driver, whatever it takes this holiday season. DUIs are costly, but it's so sad at this time of year with death and somebody from a DUI driving. So I'm glad they're doing the checkpoint. So, and that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Well, since I welcomed Dr. Moore's return to Lawndale at his first council meeting as city manager, I find it fitting to offer my farewell remarks at his last. During his tenure, first as community development director and later city manager, Dr. Moore consistently went above and beyond the duties of his office. For a city the size of Lawndale, it is essential that the city manager not remain desk-bound, but remain accessible to staff and to the community. Dr. Moore's commitment and dedication were evident both to those of us who have worked in municipal government and to residents who experience his hands-on approach. This accessibility is a rare and invaluable asset. He was one of the few city managers who regularly attended city events after hours and on weekends, often surpassing the attendance of some elected officials. How many previous city managers were in Lawndale on July 4th and issuing a record number of citations? Under his leadership, major businesses such as Target and Sprouts opened in Lawndale, and new housing construction increased. He also played a pivotal role in opposing Metro's attempt to run trains down the row. His departure will be a significant loss in the ongoing battle. Recognizing the limitations of the Los Angeles County Sheriff's staffing, Dr. Moore initiated contracting with Southwest Patrol to supplement services. Most recently, he secured council approval to add a public safety officer, relieving deputies of clerical tasks and allowing them more time for patrol. His Minute More videos have presented effective social media for the community to know what is happening in the city. His twice monthly open door meetings allowed residents to address issues with the city manager while being more accessible than some of the electeds. The city staff and department heads now represent the most capable team Lawndale has seen in many years. Credit for this stability belongs to Dr. Moore and the Human Resources Director, and I hope this strength continues after his departure. At the last meeting, 2 council members chose to offer Dr. Moore advice, quote unquote, at the close of comments. These remarks to many watching sounded more like personal digs in contrast to the professionalism shown by the mayor and other members who offered genuine best wishes. That was the only kindness needed for a city employee who has served this community with his utmost capability. It will be difficult to replace Dr. Moore with someone equally qualified and knowledgeable about Lawndale's affairs. These positions are challenging to fill, and the salary must attract, not deter, strong candidates. When Dr. Moore returned as city manager, his familiarity with the city allowed him to be more effective immediately. Tonight's closed sessions includes discussion of both an interim and a permanent city manager. If the city selects someone with no prior ties to Lawndale, how long will it take before that person is truly up and running? Thank you for your service to the community, Dr. Moore. Congratulations on your new position, and I wish you well.
Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. First, I want to say I just listened to every word that Randall said, and I won't repeat everything he said, but I will say I concur and I agree with him 110%. So I'll try to skip over naming off the projects that Sean has been responsible for while he has been here. Tonight, I'd like to take a moment and thank our city manager, Dr. Sean Moore, for his outstanding service to our community. Since I have had the honor of working with him both as a council member as well as a resident, I feel I have a fair look into his leadership. Sean, you've been exactly what our city needed. You have met many challenges and faced all of them with a positive response. I said to you when you joined us, the buck stops here. And you understood that the buck stops here. And to understand it ultimately, you were responsible for the needs and concerns of the residents. I am so grateful for a city manager that gets up from behind his desk, rolls up his sleeves, and when a job needs to be done, he makes sure he accomplishes it, even if he handles it himself. That is Dr. Sean Moore. Thank you, Sean, for hearing me and understanding ultimately it's the city manager's responsibility. Again, Sean, thank you for working with the city management team and for filling the vacant positions that we have had with overly qualified individuals who work alongside you tirelessly for the betterment of our community. To the management team, please hang in here during this rough time that we are going to face ahead. We look forward to each one of you continuing on the journey, even though Sean will be missing as our leader. Thank you for taking the time and caring for the residents and hearing our concerns and worries, leading as if you too were a resident. And thank you for the relationship you have had improved within our business community. I feel we have experienced a large step forward with those partners that we are dependent on. Sean, I also want to thank you for your continued support of the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department. You understood the obstacles that they are facing and have worked tirelessly to make sure our community stays safe. Again, congratulations on your new position. They are getting truly the best. As a resident, I'm completely sad that you will no longer be here with our team of leaders. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Tree trimming, too. I'm Matthew Harveston, Lawndale resident. A couple things. I want to say thank you for the continual Santa Sleigh, being part of that. I saw the council out on that. That was good to see, just being part. I will say that El Monte blows us away. I mean, they had like 12 Santas, and I mean, it was a massive display, and they just kept going and going. But that's okay. They're a bigger city, and we do what we can with what we have, and our kids are involved. It's a great situation, and so thank you for letting that still happen. I went out and was looking at the sound system again, and we got that working great tonight. Hopefully they don't need my help next time, but whatever, again, whatever needs to happen, just let's make it happen so that kids in the community can do this. I was speaking to some residents, and they said that this is something they look forward to every year. I forwarded on the route map, and some people were very appreciative of that. So thank you for continuing to do that, for painting the stars and the snowflakes and just being part of the city. So thank you for doing that. But as a community, we value your support of other community people. And I want to say thank you to the graffiti removal system. It's been working. We had one that they couldn't find for a while. It took them about 4 weeks. But after careful talking with them, we were able to get that taken care of. And normally they're really good, and sometimes before I even say anything. So thank you for being proactive on removing that. And thank you for having people who are employed in this city to do things for this city. We sometimes see people employed to go do stuff out, but rather you guys are investing in our employees who are doing things in. So much so that the employees wanted to give back to the city. They reached out to some of the local organizations to say, hey, we're going to be doing a thing as a staff that we want to invest back into the community. How can we help serve people? And so I think there was a toy drive that was done, and there were a few other things. So I wanted to say thank you for having staff that invests itself back into the community. And that was appreciated, and the people that were recommended we're appreciative of what you guys as a city and the people in whom you hire are doing. So again, thank you for that. And Dr. Moore, we do want to say thank you for just what you've done. Everything that is said I can be the parrot of the broken record, but you've done a lot, and we wish you the best, and we're hoping that wherever you're headed will at least get a little bit of what you've got here. So thank you for what you've been doing, and we wish for the best for you.
Thank you. Okay, I don't see any more takers, so we'll close public comments at this point. Let's bring it up to dais. Let's talk to Councilmember Frank Televere.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Just like to welcome everyone here tonight. Thank you for coming out and setting some time aside for being present. To Ray and to Holly, thank you for always being on task, and I look forward to the continued fight for next year. I know we're not going to give up, so count on me. I'll be there right by your side, doing what we can. And thank you for always bringing us the information that we need to be informed. To the librarian manager, thank you for sharing your winter program with us. And for Dina, Randall, and Rhonda, thank you for the words expressed on behalf of or towards Dr. Moore. Some of those same sentiments I feel myself, and I just, I know that transition is hard, but I think we're going to make it, and, we just got to hope for the best and plan for the worst. So we're hoping that also that those that stay with our city also can, I don't think it's based just on one person. So it's based on what we have here in the city. So, so I hope that those that are here, the management team will stay and continue for the betterment of Lawndale and serve the residents of Lawndale. And I just want to say that on the employees that I have had a face-to-face with through the different departments, they're employees that are proud of working for the city, and any loss is a terrible loss. And we'll miss Scott. I mean, we'll miss Sean too. I will. He made this first year great. And I would always tell him, whenever I text you something, I don't mean for you to do it right now. I just say, I just want you to know that it's there. There's a big old refrigerator in the middle of the street on 154th or something. Oh, we'll take care of it right now. Well, no, it don't have to be right now, but I'm glad that that's the way he is, and and that's just a tribute to his work ethic, the way he is. Because and being here on the dais now, I'm going to do my part to make sure that our next city manager has something of what Sean has. So thank you, Dina, Randall, and Rhonda for your words. And Matt, thank you for helping out with Santa Sleigh. Our speaker didn't work, but that's okay. And thank you for also your words for Dr. Moore. And thank you, everybody. That's all I got.
Okay, let's hear from Bernadette Suarez, Councilwoman.
Well, I think you summed it up pretty well, but I'd like to thank everybody that came out today. And yeah, we have a lot of work ahead of us, and I think actions speak louder than words. And so, yeah, I look forward to 2026 and bringing in the new year. So thank you, everyone.
Okay, Councilwoman Shirley Cuevas.
Thank you, everybody, for coming out, sitting in the audience, speaking, and those that are watching, thank you for putting YouTube on. That will be all.
Mr. Pro Tem, Attorney.
My turn. Randall, the Metamore, I trademarked that for the city of Lawndale. I'll give you the number if you want to look it up, 1343-L13 for the sheriff's L13, you got it? Okay, but it is trademark, he's not taking that with him. And all this kissy stuff with Sean Moore. I still have bunions on my feet. I called him 3 times last week. He was in surgery one day, which is not true, and then he was on a day off. So, Moore, enjoy your new job. Next Monday, I'll be at your first city council meeting. And with that, Ms. Librarian, thank you for the updates on the events coming by. And with that, Robert, I turn it over to you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I want to thank Ray and Dr. Osborne for the Metro update, especially the ridership stats for the loss, decline of the ridership, as opposed to the increase in ridership on buses down Hawthorne Boulevard. I do agree that Hawthorne Boulevard is definitely the best alternative for this project. And I want to thank the librarian for giving us an update on the reading programs as well. And going back to Metro, Dr. Osborne, where are you? Thank you for giving us the pipeline safety report. We appreciate that because, yes, you're absolutely right. Something has to give on that setback that is designed for pipelines. You're going to either have to move the pipelines there, have an easement, or eminent domain. And I want to thank you for bringing that point out. Also, Dana, thank you for mentioning the bulky trash. You said the bulky trash pick up. Yeah, we'll have Sean Moore do it. We'll have Sean Moore do it. We'll have Sean drive by your house, right? And this is after he resigns from the city. Okay, Rhonda, thank you for your words, Ms. Hoffman-Gorman. Matthews, thank you for the Santa Sleigh, and thank you for mentioning the graffiti removal system. We pride ourselves on getting graffiti down as fast as we can. The graffiti department, which is the Public Works Department, they work really hard on getting graffiti down, and they take pictures of it. So sometimes what happens is when graffiti stays up longer than you wish for it to stay up, that's because they have to get pictures if it seems like it's gang-related or what have you, so they can transfer it to the Sheriff's Department for investigation. And that's why it might take a little longer for some graffiti to come down. But thank you for mentioning that. And with that, I will close public comments and comments from the council. And we'll move our agenda to item F, which is the consent calendar. What is the pleasure of this body concerning such?
I'll make a motion to accept.
Okay, the motion's been made by Mr. Pat Kearney that we accept the consent calendar as it is,
As written, yeah.
I'll second that.
and seconded by Cuevas. Any discussion on the motion?
Yes. Item number 6, I'm a no.
Okay, item number 6. Madam City Clerk, please note that Suarez is voting no on item number 6. Any further discussion on the motion? Okay, will the council please vote?
The motion passes unanimously with Councilmember Suarez voting no on item number 6.
Okay, item number 7 is a public hearing approval of the CDBG projects. Let's have the staff report.
Good
This is a
evening,
public
Honorable
hearing.
Mayor, members of the City Council. This item is for the approval of a Community Development Block Grant. Every year, this item is presented to the councils for their approval. The CDBG is intended to remove blight and slum, and also use federal money for areas with low to moderate income. So under this program, we always designate federal money or our allocation of the CDBG money for street improvement projects and senior nutritional program. So this grant does pay for senior meals on a weekly basis or so, and it also improves city streets. For this year, the street that's going to be improved is Eastwood Avenue from 154th Street to the cul-de-sac. So the budgeted amount that we're getting for this year is $226,000. This is a public hearing, and the project is exempt from CEQA. And there is 3 recommendations we have: conduct a public hearing, adopt the city council resolution approving the CDBG allocation for this fiscal year, or 2026, 2027. And thank you. Staff is available to answer any questions.
Okay, are there any questions of the staff before we open up the public hearing? Okay, seeing none, it is 7:06. The public hearing is hereby open. Let's have public comments. Anyone wishing to provide public comments in this manner? Okay, seeing none, we'll close public comment at this time. And we'll close the public hearing as well. 7:06, public hearing is hereby closed. Let's bring up to diocese for any discussion.
If there's no discussion, I will go to stock recommendation. We did the public hearing, adopt FY 26-27 budget for the CDBG program, and adopt resolution number CC 2512-058, approving the city participation in the 26-27 CDBG program.
Okay, so the motion's been made by Mr. Pat Kearney
I'll second
and
that.
seconded by Cuevas. Any discussion on the motion? Okay, would the council please vote? Madam City Clerk.
For item number 7, the motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Item 8, annual reorganization of the city council. Let's have a staff report.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Yvette Palomo, Assistant City Clerk. Now is the time for the City Council to conduct its annual reorganization to select a mayor pro tem to serve a one-year term starting on January 1st, 2026 through December 31st, 2026. Now is the time for the mayor to call for nominations and then for the City Council to vote on the nominee. Thank you.
Okay, with that being said, I will call, the mayor is now calling for nominations for mayor pro tem. Any nominations?
Yes.
Okay,
Can-
you can just,
sorry,
you can
I'm
just say it.
Okay. I'd like to nominate Councilmember Shirley Cuevas. for
Okay,
mayor
so
pro tem.
Councilwoman Shirley Cuevas was just nominated. Any further nominations?
I'll move to close,
Okay, move to close. Okay, so it'd be
and I'll second it.
second, okay. Technically, you don't need a second, but,
Okay, well,
okay. Okay.
third.
So let's vote on it. Oh,
Sorry, for clarification, was Councilmember Suarez making the motion and then Councilmember Kearney seconding it?
Wholeheartedly.
yes.
Thank you.
For clarification, yes, but technically, it doesn't require a second. But we will vote on it, though. Do we need to vote on it, Mr. City Attorney? Okay. Okay. All in favor of appointing, okay, here we go. Let me just say it. All in favor of appointing Cuevas as mayor pro temp, signal by voting.
Okay. For item number 8, the motion passes unanimously.
All righty, thank you. Congratulations. Mhm. Item 9, adoption of the city policy authorizing the use of electronic signatures. Let's have a staff report.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Yvette Palomo, Assistant City Clerk. This report is to request the City Council's consideration and authorization to implement an electronic signature policy for city documents. Staff is seeking to improve efficiencies and provide improved customer service. Staff would like to start out with the electronic signing of contracts and agreements, and then move on to other documents such as resolutions and ordinances. Staff has provided an electronic signature policy for your consideration in the staff report. The estimated cost for using an electronic signature program is estimated to cost approximately $200 to $300 per user per year, depending on the plan and vendor that is selected. This concludes my report, and I am happy to answer any questions you may have.
Let's move council comments or questions. Let's hear from Bernadette Suarez.
Yes, I had a question whether this qualifies for like Form 700s and those like FPPC forms, or is this separate?
This would be a separate item.
Okay.
For Form 700 and other campaign reports, you do have to get separate approval and use specific vendors approved by the Secretary of State.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Without any further questions, if there are not any, what is the pleasure of this body concerning such?
I'll motion to approve staff recommendation.
And I'll second.
Motion's been made by Cuevas, seconded by Suarez. Any discussion on the motion? Okay, would the council please vote?
For item number 9, the motion passes unanimously.
Okay, let's move on to item 10, appointments to a vacancy on the South Bay Workforce Investment Board for Lawndale Business Private Sector seat.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'll be quick. This item, the South Bay WIP, South Bay Workforce Investment Board nominate Mr. Carlos Furia, owner of King of Wings. I've actually personally worked with him. We got his business in the city, in the Target Center. I worked with his wife. They're very nice people. They own another restaurant down in, I think it's Hawthorne, a Chinese restaurant. So they've been a good business in Lawndale. They've been doing very well, and he's being recommended for an opening on the WIPS board, on the board opening. So this concludes staff's report. I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have at this time. Thank you.
Was there a second person as well? Let me see.
No, I think those are old ones.
A new four-seat beginning.
I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor. You're correct. There's the background information. You're correct. There's two members being recommended for the board. Excuse me.
Oh, you know what? Curly Girls, are they still in business? I was told that they were going out of business.
That's correct. That's where the opening came. They are no longer in business. There was an email sent out to Mayor and Council informing you of that. Yes.
Okay. Okay. All right. What is the pleasure of this body concerning this position?
I'll motion to approve staff recommendation.
And I'll second that.
Okay. The motion been made by Cuevas and seconded by Mr. Pat Kearney. Any discussion on the motion? Will the council please vote?
Oh, you made a vote?
Yeah.
For item number 10, the motion passes unanimously.
Okay. Item 11 is a discussion of e-bike urgency ordinance. Let's have a staff report.
Mr. Reyes, before you go, Mr. Mayor and Council, I want to bring up this item was brought forward. A couple council members had mentioned over the last few months their concerns with e-bikes. So this is a discussion item only. It's not an adoption ordinance. We're looking for direction. We put together some information from my new city that I'm going to and another city in the Inland Empire. They've gotten a little more aggressive with the e-bikes, not recommending that right now. We're just showing you those two ordinances. I was asked to put them on, as well as the recent incident that occurred in Hermosa with a e-bike group that attacked an older gentleman. More recently, at a recent event, we had an incident where young kids were riding these e-bikes at the Angel Tree. They were riding it down the middle. And then I've also learned, and Mr. Reyes will go into this, there's some e-bikes that are actually, they can go up to 70 miles an hour, and they look like those bikes, and they are very fast. and they are riding them around and all over. It's not just here, it's all over the state. So, Mr. Reyes, I'll turn it over to you in the background.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and distinguished members of the City Council. Thank you for this opportunity to speak with you this evening. As our city manager said, the City of Lawndale currently does have an ordinance regarding the use of e-bikes in the City of Lawndale. However, since that ordinance passed, technology has advanced and e-bikes have grown in both popularity and their ability to travel at faster speeds, creating some safety hazards. And as our city manager stated, they have been used in actually recently in crimes. Several city council members and residents have asked for stricter regulations and brought to staff's attention the need to revisit the existing ordinance. In researching other cities, staff has found that the city of Rancho Cucamonga and the city of Yucaipa have put into their ordinance such things as citing parents of e-bike riders violating city regulations, age restrictions for e-bike users starting at 18 years old, fines starting at $2,000 for e-bike violations, and confiscation of e-bikes. Staff has presented this staff report to seek direction from the City Council. We have 3 options for you to consider. Option 1 is to pursue an emergency ordinance as e-bikes constitute an immediate danger and threat to public safety. Option 2 is to pursue a regular ordinance as e-bikes have the potential to be a greater threat to public safety than previously thought. Or Option 3, leave existing ordinances regarding e-bikes as they are, including maintaining current enforcement levels. That concludes the staff report, and I can answer any questions if you have any.
Okay, thank you for that report. Let's hear from Bernadette Suarez.
Hi, thank you. I know you put 2 examples of cities that have regulations, but did we reach out to any cities in the South Bay? It would be kind of hard to have conflicting, if you're trying to, because we're trying to get the LTN here, so I would think we'd want to have, look at other cities so that we mirror kind of, you can get from one city to the other.
Correct, and we did not, so we can
Okay.
continue to do that
Okay.
if you'd like
Just
us
a
to. This is
question.
just the beginning of the research and
Okay.
we'd like to get direction.
Thank you.
So let me ask you this for clarity. The ordinance that we have on e-bikes, it's shared bikes, right? Which is services, not, these are personal bikes, right?
The e-bikes would be anything that's a motorized scooter, an electronic bicycle, anything that has a motor that can be operated on 2 wheels. So the ordinance.
But my reading of the the ordinance concerning e-bikes was kind of like, those shared scooters or what have you that you.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, but they don't govern like personal bikes.
That would cover those as well. So e-bikes look like bicycles, but they have powerful motors now, so they can go at speed. The shared scooters don't go quite that fast. We do have an ordinance about those as well, which we don't allow because those keep the inventory on public streets. So those are banned entirely in the city of Lawndale. E-bikes we do allow, they do get used, but when the ordinance was written, the capabilities of the e-bikes were not what they are today. And also we're not seeing the level of violence associated with them, most recently in the Hermosa Beach incident. So this is what we're looking from direction from the council for if you'd like to see more enforcement. Again, also all enforcement currently comes from the Sheriff's Department. This is not something staff can enforce. This has to come from our law enforcement agencies.
Okay, got you. Ms. Cuevas.
So I understand we need to enforce it, but the ordinance that we have is pretty good. I think we need to add e-bikes, because right now, to me, it speaks more to electronic scooters.
Well, that's what I was saying.
Yeah, it doesn't specify e-bikes, it just talks about, what I read was electronic scooters. So if we could, maybe our current ordinance, add e-bikes to it.
Just a clarification of the language in the ordinance?
Exactly.
Sure.
And I don't remember seeing anything about fines. Is there anything in there about?
Yes, our ordinance right now, currently allows for fines.
Okay.
We've only written 1 fine this year, but there's been 6 accidents involving e-bikes, according to Sergeant Smith, that information I was given today.
Okay. Yeah, if we could clarify what we currently have, like what an e-bike is. The ones that go 70 miles per hour, I'm pretty sure those are illegal, and the sheriff department is on top of those, right? The e-bikes, illegal bikes? How does that, the illegal e-bikes?
Well, I don't know if they're illegal.
There are illegal in LA County.
Thank you, Council, for having me up. Yeah, actually, we just went over this because we had an incident, and those would be classified as like electronic off-road motorcycles.
Oh, yeah.
So they don't have pedals that like a bicycle would have. Now, I'm not an e-bike expert, but my understanding is they're classified as class 1, class 2, and class 3 of the e-bikes. But the ones that you're referring to are off-road electric motorcycles, where they would be reach speeds of vehicles, and they're completely separate, and they're not e-bikes at all.
Yeah.
And so I think those are like a completely different category.
But
of
they look
this.
like bikes, because I've seen them. They look like regular bicycles.
Yes, I see them too, and I get confused until I see their
The speed.
people's wind, their hair flailing in the wind, and I realize they're going like 50 miles an hour. So that is not an e-bike. Yeah, yeah.
Are those supposed to, they are supposed to have motorcycle licenses for those to ride on the?
Those are not allowed to be on the street at all. Yeah.
they're not allowed.
No, because they'd have to have a license and they'd have to be registered, but you can't register those because they're meant to be off-road. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Michael, maybe we could add something to our ordinance to the fact that that type of bicycles are not allowed.
Are we getting into discussion, or are we still questions? Okay, because don't we have to do public comment before?
No. That's not true. Let's hear from Talavera.
Okay, I just want to state on this issue that I also am agreeing with Councilmember Suarez that I'd like to see the practices or the ordinance policies that other neighboring cities have. And also would like to see clarification about the e-bikes in our own policy right now, because I was led to believe that it's only about the shared scooters that were popular when they began. And then I would also like to see a fee structure. Michael, I don't see a fee structure in the policy that we have here. So I don't know if it's, if I overlooked it or if it's somewhere else. But those are the three things I would like to see in the policy that we're trying to implement, trying to establish.
Understood. Okay.
Okay, let's hear from the public. You want to go?
No, I'll wait till they speak. I'm good.
Yes, sir.
Hi, my name's Andrew Blackney. I think you guys all know by now that my main method of transportation is an e-bike. I'd also like to remind you, I am your representative for the South Bay Bicycle Coalition, and we have offered to come and do a presentation for you explaining the different operations of e-bikes, how the laws work with these things, how laws work with regular bikes versus e-bikes, all of these sorts of things. And I think it's very apparent that this is needed considering the fact that your staff just correctly misidentified e-bikes several times and wasn't able to identify what they are, what they aren't, how to operate them, and things like this. This shows the importance of why you need this education. I don't think that this regulation, specifically having regulations and trying to do fines like this, is necessary. All you're doing is ultimately further impounding the fact that this is a low-income area, and a lot of the people that you would see on these e-bikes would be children that are dumb enough to do stupid stuff, and you're basically hurting their parents who may have gotten them the e-bike because they cannot afford to be taking them to school. They have to get to work early, and they can't get off work early to pick them up and take them home. So things like this is an issue for them, and they see getting them a bike as a method of doing this. There's much other better ways of doing this, which again, I could tell you about if you'd let me present to you. The way that the cities and the beach communities have done this, where they're offering classes to students to take that allow them to be able to ride their bike to school and lock it up at school. This is one of the methods that these cities have done. So this is something I could present to you about. Also, I'd like to also just tell you that any rules that you do make, they cannot supersede California Vehicle Code. So you're not going to be able to change anything directly relating to laws. What you can do is add fines and add impoundment costs to these people, to the people that are breaking laws with these e-bikes. I would be much better suited for your time to petition to the state to redefine e-bikes to make these better. And again, I can give you recommendations for what the larger South Bay community believes is a best path forward if you would allow the South Bay Bicycle Coalition to come and present to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Hello, I'm Ryan, Lawndale resident and cyclist, and I'd also like to see Andrew's presentation. It seems like these laws are, as he said, basically the California Vehicle Code. So the existing laws would already apply to e-bikes, and I kind of reject the language in this where you say e-bikes are an immediate danger and e-bikes are a threat. The other thing that you guys are talking about that goes 70 miles per hour, which is not an e-bike, I can see that being a threat, but e-bikes are not a threat. They're very useful. When I ride in Redondo Beach, I'm the one sweating up the hills while everyone zooms by me on an e-bike because it's so hilly there. Lawndale's not quite as hilly and doesn't quite have as much bicycle infrastructure, but I think we should be doing more to encourage bicycling and encourage e-bikes. So I reject the idea that they're a threat.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
I wasn't planning to speak, but I'm Jackie Backrack from the South Bay Cities Council of Governments. We're working with all the other cities and the school districts on e-bike safety programs, and we do have, I think our staff has all the ordinances, and I'm offering our assistance. There is a real problem. As the Bike Coalition person said, there's class 1, 2, and 3 e-bikes, and one of the classes, I think it's class 1, people under 16 are not legally able to even ride them. So we really need to, education is really important. That's why we're trying to get into the schools. And the COG does have a grant that we have been awarded by the federal government for bike safety throughout the South Bay, but we haven't the federal government hasn't cleared it for funding yet. They've told us we're going to get it, but we have no idea when. So when that grant comes, we'll have even more tools that we can help you with. And we ask your staff to work with us, and we'll try to provide them the information they're looking for.
Thank you. Okay, let's hear from
Thank you,
Mayor Pro Tem.
I think under the pretense of we're going to change our ordinance, all we're doing is adding to the ordinance. And I agree with my council members that we do a fine, step-by-step fine. And I would still like to see e-bikes impounded. Because I can tell you, Angel Tree, there was 2 bikes. One was right out here, zipping through here, didn't give a rat's patoot who was there. And then over by Santa Soleil, there was a guy on his bike flying through there. If I hadn't put my arm out, I would have choked his windpipes. He would have been dead. But a resident told the young man, get your butt off that bike and walk it. So, you can, and the school thing, I don't think the school thing's working worth their darn. Jane Addams has it implemented. They got little certificates, little things on their sticker, their bikes, but they ride their bike all the way to their front gate, get off, no helmet on, and they have the helmet in their hand. So I'd like to see our ordinance enhanced by the fines and e-bike impounded, and that the parents try to get them out 15 days later. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Let's hear from Bernadette Suarez.
Okay, thank you. I slightly disagree. I do believe that there is an issue, but I think the approach is, education first, and then you go into that. I wasn't aware that any of our schools were doing the programs. If so, I'd be interested to see who's doing them, how they're implemented and whatnot. But it reminds me kind of like our fence policy. I think it was last year we asked staff, how many people are actually pulling the permits, and it was like majority only because they've already been cited. So, you're going to have the policy, but people aren't going to be aware until maybe the enforcement, but we need to get ahead of that and offer the education first so that we do it. And I think we need to be uniform too with other cities. If they're trying to travel from one jurisdiction to another, it's easier if, everybody knows and the rules are fairly the same. I understand that we do have an issue, and I think that for repeat offenders, yeah, we can get into those, but let's offer the education first.
Okay. Madam Cuevas.
Michael, could we work with the COG and see if they could help us with other city ordinances and jump on board whenever they get the funding for the assistance or the classes?
Yeah, I was unaware of those classes, so I'll be happy to reach out to Jackie and find out
Reach
what.
out to Jackie and let's see if we could put something together. I don't know about impounding a bike, but just educating and making those changes on our current ordinance, and then maybe bringing it back next year in the middle of the year to see if we have new information that we could put in there.
Of course.
I would like to have a presentation from the South Bay COG on a bike presentation on the safety and the different types of bikes. But I do agree, actually I agree with having impounding on the bicycles, depending on the issue with the bikes and how many times have a person been an offender, of driving, riding the bike in an unsafe manner, and possibly impounding the bike and having the parents retrieve the bikes. But I want to do that after we get the education piece, so that I'm fair, and that I'm, looking at it holistically. So let's take a look at that. Let me see. Let me see. I got. In cases of minors committing violations under this chapter, parents or guardians may be held responsible. Okay. Yeah, but that's after this education piece. Yeah. Okay. Any further discussion on this?
I just have one more thing to say. As far as the schools, I believe we sat in this back room in a conference room, and the young man from COG said they already reached out to schools, and the program is in place. They do a little training at the school. They get a little sticker to put on the e-bikes, and they're all good to go. Well, that's not training nobody. We had the takeover on Hawthorne Boulevard. We had, like I forget who said, about the 6 members in Hermosa Beach taking down that older gentleman. I know we did the training because the young man said he did it at the school. He went to elementary school district and high school district, and they do this training at school, and they get a little thing you stick on your bike that says, "I finished training." And that ain't, you lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. I'm done.
Okay. You already went?
Yeah,
Let
I
you
have
go?
one more question.
All right. Okay. Cuevas.
My question is, let's say we impound the bikes. Who's impounding the bikes? Is the sheriff putting it in the back of their car, or is he calling public works or someone to take the bikes? How?
Really good question, and I think that's probably something that we'll want to look into. It sounds like we definitely have a majority or maybe unanimity to move forward with changes to the ordinance, to move forward with studying some other ordinances, especially other local ones. I've heard a couple people saying that they'd like to hear a little bit more about e-bikes and what the functions are. So if we do come back, we can flesh all of that out, certainly. So keep asking the questions, keep giving the comments so that we can take all of the direction we need to take to bring this back in a good form.
Yeah, if you could add that to your list, Michael.
I've got
How
quite
are
a bit
we
of...
doing all that?
Yeah.
Of course, I've got quite a bit of notes, and I'll work on this to bring this back.
Okay. Let's hear from Frank Televere.
Okay, I just wanted to reiterate that I think also, like the council members have said, education is a priority and it should be done. And the training that's offered at the schools, I would believe it's specific to the school for the student be able to use their bike to the school. Not necessarily controlling what they do outside of the school.
Right.
So that school training is one thing, but we need to have something for the city. So that's what I think we should focus on. Because we all drive cars, but some of us are responsible drivers and some of us aren't. So to say that it's not a threat, it is a threat. It's a threat because they're not being monitored, they're not being regulated on how they're driving us. There's times on my street, I have 6 kids on e-bikes taking up the whole street, just zooming down, as fast as they can go. And I never thought 35 miles an hour was so fast, but it is. When you see a group of them, of at least 6 or 7 of them, going down 154th. And, it's just, you know, what do we do? And I think it's back to our stop sign. What do we do to make drivers responsible on stopping at the stop signs? You know, so what are we gonna make, how are we gonna have these kids learn that they need to be responsible drivers? You know, I don't want to take e-bikes away, and I don't want to say, you know, lock them up, but I just want to say, we got to tell them to be responsible. And the way that I guess we could do it is by imposing fines on them for violation of the policies and the regulations. Years back, the neighbor's mom could tell you, hey, don't do that, and you would say, oh, okay, stop. But now they'll just turn around and what happened in Hermosa Beach with this man picking up pizza for dinner. I think the news release actually said that he tried to tell them something like, hey, get off the bike or walk the bike. Well, that enrages them, so how are we going to hold them accountable? So unfortunately, it's the only way we can do it is with fines first, education also. I think if a driver of an e-bike gets pulled over or gets detained, then they have to be just like us drivers that break the rules. We have to go to traffic school, So maybe it's a different type of traffic school for e-bikes that the district has for them. So I think we have to look at something that's broader and something that's more encompassing for the city, not just the school district. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Bernadette Suarez.
Yes, one other thing that we may want to do, a few years ago, we did a joint meeting with the school district, and I think it'd be worthwhile to maybe have some kind of a meeting. That way we can, maybe when we get more information, but to introduce the idea and kind of see how we can work alongside them to get this implemented, if my colleagues are open to that.
Any further discussion? What is the pleasure of this body concerning this item? Should we do 1, 2, or 3?
I would like to bring it back with some of the changes we requested so we can review it again.
Okay.
And we wouldn't even need a vote for that. There seems to be, like I said, pretty unanimous direction to go work on it and bring it back. And I think after hearing the discussion and the time frame that you all are talking about, it may be that an urgency ordinance with a single reading becomes necessary. It may be that a regular ordinance is better. Let's see how things evolve over the next few months, and if there's a triggering incident, then an urgency ordinance would be proper. If there's not, then a regular ordinance with 2 readings would be proper. Right. So we'll take that into account as we're doing the work.
Okay. Okay, so that would be the order. Let's move on to item 12, South Bay Regional Housing Trust.
Good evening,
Yes,
Honorable
sir.
Mayor and City Council members. This item will be presented by the South Bay City's Council of Government staff. Council of Government, I'm sorry. Staff is also available to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Okay, thank you so much for inviting us. We've been working for about 6 months now on a project that's been funded with SCAG funds to study the creation of a housing trust for the South Bay cities. There are other housing trusts in Los Angeles County, but we haven't had one in the South Bay. And we really needed to understand what that meant. I wanted to, Bronson is going to explain to you how we got to where we are, but with the passage of Measure A, the new sales tax that we all have now, which has no sunset clause, we are now, whether we like it or not, in that business. And so it's really caused a much more serious look at what a housing trust would mean for the South Bay. I wanted to make 2 clarifications on your staff report. The first is that it's written that the staff is asking for this from the South Bay Cities Council of Governments. And I want to make it really clear that the board voted on November 20th to send this to the cities and ask them to consider joining a housing trust. So this is coming from the board after they saw a presentation very similar to what you're going to see. The other thing is that, and we will discuss this during the presentation, but I want to get it out now, is on the staff concerns. There is a concern about the member cities paying $500,000 a year, and you will hear that that we believe that, because we're learning things too, that with the new La Casa money that has been assigned to the Council of Governments and the Trust, that there is no need to charge the cities any fee. And we're saying that as a COG, we would not have the first year at least wouldn't have no fee, and then the trust board, which is going to be made up of council members from all of our cities, would decide on future budgets. So, so it isn't, in our opinion, it is not likely that you would be on the hook for an annual fee at all. But I wanted to say those two things, and then Ronson will go through part of the presentation, and I'll do the second half. You want to introduce yourself?
Ronson Chu, Senior Program Manager for Housing and Homelessness at the South Bay Cities Council of Governments. Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and fellow council members. Just want to, the first slide, I'm trying to breeze through these slides, and feel free to interrupt me with questions. Measure A was voted in by voters in 2024, which created La Casa, this agency tasked for affordable housing development, preservation, ownership, and also renter protections. So about $382 million was carved out of Measure A for this purpose. The South Bay, through the measure, these are the eligible jurisdictions, and one of the eligible jurisdictions is the South Bay Cities Council of Governments, or if we were to form a South Bay Regional Housing Trust. About $5 million is for prevention funding. We won't talk about that tonight. Tonight, we're really focused on the housing production and preservation portion of the funding. So the housing production preservation part is about $7.3 million of that. I've highlighted the other two COGs, Gateway Cities COGs and San Gabriel Valley COG. And both of those COGs, they're passing through that money into their housing trust. So those two COGs already have housing trusts, and they're using the housing trust to administer the funds. We don't have a housing trust, so right now the money is sitting with the COG right now. And on top of the $7.3 million, there's also row number one, the cost of funding. They have about $68 million, so we can also tap into that. So it's not just the 7.3, there's actually a lot more money than that for affordable housing in the South Bay. So just to reiterate, San Gabriel Valley and Gateway, they formed their housing trust in 2020 and 2023 respectively, and then they folded La Casa funds into those trusts, into the housing trusts. We're coming about it slightly differently. We have the La Casa funds now, but we don't have a housing trust. And so that's presenting some issues. But first, before I get into that, Jackie mentioned dues. Dues is one of the big things our cities are concerned about. They don't want to pay any more dues. So for the first year, what we're proposing is, the funds that we're already getting from La Casa is paying for administrative costs. And we're going to use those funds, about $1.4 million of that is earmarked for administrative costs. We can use that to pay for the estimated $500,000 annual cost of the housing trust, to administer the housing trust. So at least for the first year, this will be paid for by the existing funding that we're getting. In future years, whether or not there will be dues will be decided by the Housing Trust Board, and the Housing Trust Board will be made up of our member cities, so you all. The reason why we need a housing trust is because the COG was not built to be a housing trust. And so there's a lot of things we can't do. Everything in red we cannot do out of the housing trust, and those are things that the La Casa programs are suggesting we do. So we can do grants, but we can't do soft development loans for affordable housing development. We can't do construction loans. We can't do preservation acquisition loans or get equity stakes into projects. We can do master leasing, but through a third-party nonprofit. We can do rental and operating subsidies. And then we can't do home buyer assistance without contracting it out to a nonprofit. And so this would be to help first-time home buyers in Lawndale purchase their first homes. This is something that's been tasked by La Casa for us to do, but we can't do that without contracting it out. But with a housing trust, we can do all those things. One of the things we get asked a lot is that, well, why can't we just grant the funds to developers? Developers actually don't like grants, affordable housing developers, because it creates a tax liability for them, and that reduces their ability to get federal tax credits to build affordable housing, which is one of the major drivers of affordable housing financing. And so grants are actually not that very attractive, and that's one of the only things we can really do to help with affordable housing development. So we're really kind of stuck without a housing trust to really impact affordable housing development here in the South Bay. And then one of the great things about housing trusts is housing trusts can generate revenues, and so the money can be recycled back into building more affordable housing. So the San Gabriel Valley Housing Trust is already generating $230,000 a year in interest revenue from the loans that they're giving developers, and their first loan repayment will happen this year. So then they will then re-administer that loan repayment to another housing development. So they get to recycle the money through these loan programs. And then another question we get a lot from our cities is that, some cities say, our cities are built out. Cities on the peninsula, they're like, we really can't build more in the peninsula. And, they're dealing with landslide issues and all that. But there's other ways cities can benefit from a housing trust other than constructing new affordable housing. Cities can preserve existing affordable housing, and all of our cities have this. We can do master leasing. We can do rent and operating subsidies, and we can provide, like I said, first-time home buyer assistance to our constituents. An example of preservation, and this is not really well understood, but by a lot of folks, but like I said, there's a lot of naturally occurring affordable housing in all our communities. This is an example of one that's for sale. This apartment complex is for sale for about $13.9 million in Gardena. It's considered naturally occurring affordable housing because if you look at the bottom, the rents there are pretty affordable. So you can get a studio apartment in there for $13.44 a month. One bedroom is $16.35, and a two bedroom, so you can put a family in there for under $2,000. These apartments are about 60% of the area median incomes. So 60% is someone making about $60,000 a year, or a family making about $80,000 to $100,000 a year can afford these types of apartments. So this is called naturally occurring affordable housing. What we're seeing, though, however, is that nationwide, especially on the West Coast, there are these Wall Street companies. This one, Invitation Homes, it might even be in your 401k, INVH. They're 10% owned by BlackRock, a private equity group. And their goal is to buy, this one in particular is to buy single-family homes, but there's other ones out to buy multi-family units like the one we just saw. And they're going to turn naturally occurring affordable housing into market rate housing. So in this house that they bought in Gardena, they're renting for $4,000 a month. And so they're targeting our areas, targeting our neighborhoods to convert affordable housing units into market rate units. So that's the threat we face in our communities, and which is another reason why we need to do more in the affordable housing space. And then this is just a reminder, all of our cities are affected by the high cost of rents. These are eviction filings in all of our cities. As you can see, even cities on the peninsula are affected by this. The city of Lawndale had 79 eviction filings in 2024. And so this is the last slide, and I'll stop there. And Jackie can tell you a little bit more about what the Housing Trust will do. But Hawthorne and Inglewood, they've actually already submitted projects totaling 120 units. These are 100% affordable. And I want to stress that the cost of funds are for 100% affordable. So they're not for market rate housing. And so they have projects that are viable. We're already working on that. So we're already doing the work of the Housing Trust without the benefit of the Housing Trust. And then there's other cities that have reached out, expressing interest in affordable housing development opportunities in their areas, and we're continuing talking to them as well. And so that's basically the presentation, and I'll turn that over to Jackie.
I wanted to say that when we talk about technical help that we need and why it's $500,000, it sounds like a lot of money. It's not just the administration, but the Housing Trust will hire real estate and financial experts. I mean, in order to evaluate your projects, we're going to need to have real experts, and those experts are going to be able to be resources to you and your planning departments right as soon as we get them. So for this or for other issues, we will have many more resources that you'll be able to use. This is about the Joint Powers Authority, and which is the document that needs to be created. This would be a brand new Joint Powers Authority, and it would be to work together on affordable housing, essentially, using those La Casa funds. So let's move forward. Okay. The trust board itself, and I should say, first of all, that in 2022, there was legislation that authorize the South Bay Housing Trust. And in that legislation, some of these things are called out. So they're not exactly up for debate at this point unless we amend legislation if we form the housing trust. And what that says is that each city will have a member on the trust board that joins the trust. The trust board also has to have 2 experts in housing, and those experts will be picked by the city managers of the cities that form the housing trust. And then there will be an advisory committee, and the advisory committee will be decided, who will be on it and what it will do will also be decided by the trust board. The trust staff, we can hire brand-new staff, but in all the other places in the other trusts that we've studied, they actually use the COG staff. So what happens is we oversee we would get consultants, we would oversee those consulting contracts. So you don't have to hire another executive director and another, all the little support functions, which are not so little in something that is this big. So let's move forward. The trust would secure capital funding. It would be governed by you and be transparent and accountable. We would have to report all of the trust actions, and most of them, to La Casa. It would be promoting regional collaboration. I'll stop here, and it's not on the slide, and say that the one question we always get asked is, if you're in a trust and other city builds housing, do you get RENA credit? No, we can't. We've tried that, and that question has been asked many times, and the state will not entertain sharing RENA credit. So, but this does allow you to have other ways of meeting your obligations. It would strengthen the local capacity through the technical assistance that we'll have. It would establish performance metrics and evaluation tools. It would build a brand in which the developers who might not know if this is a friendly place would be able to come to the trust and find out what opportunities there would be. And it would design a housing funding, design and launch housing funding programs. So I'd mentioned the legislation. The purpose of the legislation was to fund extremely low, very low, and low-income housing. The effective date of the JPA is going to be when the 4th city joins. We are just starting to go around to the cities. We have several cities that have already agendized it. I know of one that actually has agendized it for approval. Many of them are like you to decide what you want to do, but we have a pretty confident feeling that there probably will be a trust because there is a lot of interest in this now. Next slide. This is really important. The trust is not going to regulate your land use. They're not going to levy any fees, and they cannot fund a project that doesn't come from the city. If a developer would come to the trust and say, I want to do something, the trust would say, well, where's your city authorization? It has to come with the approval of the city. There's a lot of other things there about we're not going to dictate anything that you don't want. It's your project. We're just trying to fund it and make it viable. Next slide. I think this is already I already said this about withdrawal. Anytime that you want to withdraw, you can withdraw, but it has to be within at least 90 days before the fiscal year. So at least once a year, you can decide whether you want to withdraw. And if there were any fees, you'd have to pay the fees, but we don't think there'll be any fees. I think that's my last slide. I want to say, just personally, that I was against forming a housing trust. I thought it would be a bureaucracy. We don't need another one. And as I learn what Measure A has provided, and the funds are coming in, and the obligations that those funds have with them, and the ability to use them wisely, it sort of dictates, in my opinion, the need for an organization that is dedicated to using those funds in the most cost-effective manner. So I would encourage you to ask any questions, and also I would encourage you to strongly consider joining the trust. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that presentation. Let's have some discussion on this item. Okay, let's hear from Mr. Pat Kearney.
Okay, a couple questions. Jackie, you said you only need 4 cities to get this through. How many cities do we have in the South Bay COG?
15 cities are going to be eligible to join.
Okay. So you only have 2 right now, possibly 2, Inglewood and Hawthorne?
We have understood that there's more cities than that are interested, but we haven't been to their councils yet.
Okay. Well, I'd like to see this come back until we know how many cities are going to join, and if not, why they're not going to join. And I'm going to throw my hat in for the one elected official from the trust member city. And I still like to have this brought back until we see who's going to get in, who's not going to get in, why they're not going to get in. But I'd like to throw my hat into the arena. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Let's hear from Bernadette Suarez.
I think Shirley's next.
Yeah, Shirley Cuevas is next.
The fund goes into a saving, I guess. How do we know how much is going to each city? Or is it, if Lawndale doesn't have any applications, then there's no funds for the city? Is that how it works?
No, the way, first of all, the funds have to be used in a reasonable amount of time. We can't just bank them unless we have a committed project. But we will do, and what we did this year was sort of a call for projects, and that's how we got the Inglewood and Hawthorne projects. We'll try to work with each city. We'll try to provide a geographical balance, but it will be the trust board that will decide where the money will go. It is not this amount of money per city, because theoretically it might not do any good in any city if it was too little, and some city one year might need a lot, and it depends on how the projects are coming through. Do you want to answer that in any?
No, I just think that's absolutely right, because some of these projects will need $3 million, some will need $7 or $10 million. So depending on the size of the projects, the board will have to decide how to prioritize that. If there was a $7 million project in Lawndale, Lawndale might just get all the money one year. So it just depends.
So we leave it up to the board. So if they, per se, like a neighboring city that is always on their side, they're going to get the funds? Or how do we make sure that there's no favoritism?
Well, I can only say that right now with Measure R, Measure M, some of the things we already distribute, we have guidelines that say there must be geographical equity, and we do have charts of how much money each city has gotten, so that we know that maybe it's not exactly how you would divide it if you divided it by population, let's say, but it is equitable. And if projects are coming in and you have to make a choice, you look and see where you need to fill in. I would suggest that when the trust gets organized, one of the first meetings are going to be guidelines that the trust board will adopt, and geographic equity would be one of those guidelines.
I also just say we're just going to be a small portion of the funding stack of these developments. So these developments is pretty competitive across the South Bay. So they'll be contingent on other funding sources, not just ours, to push through. In fact, one of the purposes of the trust will be to line up the developments in an orderly fashion so that we're not competing against each other. That's one of the problems right now, is that the project in Hawthorne and the project in Inglewood are competing against each other for federal funds. What we'll want to do as the trust is to organize them so that they're not competing with each other. It's like, hey, you go in April for this application, you go in July. So that way we're not competing against one another.
Thank you.
Okay, let's hear from Bernadette Suarez.
Okay, thank you so much for coming. To give a little bit of context, I've been in more of these meetings, so I understand. The board, myself included, we surprised Jackie because we went forward forming it. And I really do feel as though we want to be probably one of the first cities to say, yes, let's join, so that we can be on that board and have a say in the whatever guidelines we're going to implement. One of the things that spoke to me really well was that there could be a variety of things that could be used for, not just I think of it more real, like lending services, but you can also use it for home ownership and rental subsidies and whatnot. So that spoke to me, thinking of our community in which we have a lot more renters than we do homeowners. And I think this is an avenue for our council that we could use to level the playing field and have more homeownership in our city. It's just the beginning, and I think this is something that we really want to be at the forefront of. It's especially with the Measure A funds that are coming in, that gives us an avenue. And so that's one of the reasons why I voted to form it. And I really do think that we should agendize it right away. That way we can have a seat at the table, because once the 4 cities sign up, it's formed already. I don't think we need to wait at all. I think we just push forward, and I think it's something that we could be at the forefront of. And so for that reason, I am asking that we, does this need to be re-agendized, or how does that go in terms of processes?
No. Mayor, Council, there's actions, so discuss and request and receive the presentation and approve joining the South Bay Regional Trust. There's 3 options, or provide further direction to staff.
So it would be my recommendation and motion that we join the Regional Housing Trust.
Well, I'm not sure if the motion is in, if we're ready to entertain a motion right now. Let's hear from Talbot. You got something to say? You want to add something?
Yeah, I'll add something. I think I concur with Councilmember Suarez that I don't see why we should wait. You know, we should jump on the train right now and be part of the moving force that's going to, you know, bring everything together. What I do want to understand is that, so if we have a project that we put forward, you know, would there be a priority list, or how would that work?
Yeah, I mean, we're kind of in the environment where we don't have to necessarily prioritize right now, because we're not seeing a lot of projects that actually qualify for this. Part of the reason, you know, is because there's a lot of requirements, like they have to be affordable, 100% affordable, and that's really hard to pencil out. We see a lot more often like market rate developments with a little bit of affordability, but these projects have to be 100% affordable. So that's a very limiting factor in terms of the number of projects that's able to pass muster for these funds. So we haven't had that need to necessarily prioritize. But, you know, these projects take a long time. You know, just because we commit funds 1 year, it might take the project 5 to 10 years to be built. So there's always opportunities to look at other projects and see if there's projects that maybe are further along that we can fund now that are shovel ready. So those are some of the things that we were thinking about.
And there's no other city that has joined so far?
Not yet. We have a couple in January. Not many cities we're meeting right now, so Peter jumped on it. But we have a couple in January that are agendizing it for approval. I think by the end of January, we'll have a trust.
So for us to join, we'd be trailblazers.
Yes, you guys would be. You guys are actually the first city to be hearing this too.
Good. I would like that too.
You guys would be the founding members of the trust.
Well, let me ask you this real quick, Jackie. You kind of mentioned that there is no fees for joining, or dues, anything like that.
No.
Should there happen to be down the line, when a city withdraws, if a city withdraws, would they be obligated to pay those fees or dues?
If there were fees, they'd be obligated to pay whatever portion, you know, depending, I guess, on how many months of that year they were still in the trust, they'd have to have to pay any fees.
Okay, but it can be prorated.
Yeah, I would admit.
Okay, yeah, all right. Well, that was my one question, but I'm okay with this.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I'd still like to be part of this board, if nobody else wants to.
Okay, let's do this. Let's have the motion where we have to decide whether we want to be a member of the Joint Powers Association, and then we'll entertain who's going to be on the board.
Okay.
How about that?
That's
fine. Yes, ma'am.
I believe Councilmember Suarez already motioned that, and I'll second her
Okay.
to approve the.
So the motion been made by Suarez and seconded by Cuevas, that we join the Joint Powers Association. Any discussion on the motion? Would the council please vote?
For item number 12, the motion passes unanimously.
Thank you very very much, and congratulations.
Okay. Well, I'm going to nominate to be on the board, Mr. Pat Kearney, to be our representative on the board.
And I'd like to nominate myself to serve on that. Do we choose tonight or?
Yeah, we can choose tonight. Yeah, you
Okay.
can choose tonight, though.
Okay, well, I nominate myself. I've served on the COG for a number of years. One of the ones that voted to move this forward. And so I'd really like to be there for, the beginning of it. So,
Okay, Mr. City Attorney, how do we do this? Should I close the nominations?
Anyone else
Any-
want to make a nomination, or we have two? Okay, if we have two, then yes, sir, you can close the nominations.
Okay, the nominations are closed. So let's vote on Mr. Pat Kearney since he was nominated first. All those in favor of Mr. Pat Kearney, you can vote too. Madam City Clerk?
Okay, we're going to do a voice vote. And the person up is for Mayor Pro Tem Kearney and Mayor Pro Tem Kearney. Your vote?
Yes.
Okay, and Councilmember Cuevas?
No.
Councilmember Suarez?
no.
Councilmember Talavera?
No.
Mayor Pro Miles?
Yes.
Okay, with 3 noes, he is not elected.
Okay, can we go to the next candidate?
Next candidate.
Darn, Suarez.
Councilmember Suarez. Mayor Pro Tem Kearney.
No.
Councilmember Cuevas.
Yes.
Councilmember Suarez.
Yes.
Councilmember Talavera.
Yes.
Mayor Paulin Miles.
No.
With 3 yeses, Councilmember Suarez is voted in.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I forgot
ma'am.
to say something that's really sort of germane. When it came to before the Council of Governments, the members of the Council of Governments said that they wanted alternates. Alternates are not allowed in the current legislation, so we have talked to Senator Ben Allen, and he is actually running a bill going into this next session that will allow alternates. And so I just wanted to put that on the table. They're not allowed now, but we're working on that.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you for your presentation as well. Okay, let's move our agenda. Item 13, recommendation to continue to use the Ever Bridge.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and distinguished members of the City Council. Thank you for this opportunity to speak with you this evening. The staff report you have before you is the recommendation to continue to use Everbridge as a citywide emergency notification system. As this council is aware, on December 5th, 2022, we adopted Everbridge as our emergency mass notification system for the city of Lawndale in the event of an emergency in the city. Everbridge allows us to send out mass notifications across several platforms, including cell phones, landlines, fax machines, tablets, emails, et cetera, in multiple languages. We can send out information about evacuations, road closures, fires, anything that matches the incident as it occurs. This will be a renewal of the current contract with Everbridge. The cost this year is $12,458.03. That amount was already approved by this council in this year's fiscal budget, so there are no new fees. We're just presenting it to you that it's time to renew. And I can answer any questions if you have any.
Are there any questions of the report? What is the recommendation of this body?
Make a motion to go with stock recommendation.
Okay,
I'll second that.
okay, so the motion has been made by Kearney, second by Cuevas. Any discussion on the motion? Will the council please vote?
For item number 13, motion passes unanimously.
Okay, great. Okay, item 14, notice of completion for rehabbing sidewalk replacement projects.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Good evening again. I'm filling in for Lucho, so I'll do my best. This is a notice of completion the council is aware of for street rehabilitation, sidewalk replacement project. On June 16, 2025, the council awarded construction contract to Sequel Contractors for the street rehabilitation. You saw all the streets and the roads getting repaired. We did them all in one mass push. Thank you, Lucho and staff at Public Works, so that was a good job. Now we're back before you requesting to the release to accept the project and close it out. And that's what the backing of the staff report highlights, the total cost allocated with over $2.2 million. Construction costs included contingency of $2,085,000. Construction inspection services, $79,000. Total project cost, $2,164,572. There was a remaining balance of unallocated funds of $36,427. Tonight, staff's requesting that the council authorize staff to file the notice of completion with the Los Angeles County Recorder's Office and authorize staff to release the retention in the amount of $104,265.84. And I did call staff today because Lucho's off, and I did verify there's no over costs on here. This is the release to finalize the project. This is owed to the contractor, and it's all within the approved budget amount. This concludes staff's report. I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any questions of the staff report?
If not, I'll make a motion to go to staff recommendation.
Okay. So the motion's been made by Mr. Pat Kearney that we go with the staff recommendation.
I'll second that.
Seconded by Madam Cuevas. Any discussion? Would council please vote?
For item number 14, the motion passes unanimously.
Okay. Let's hear the manager's report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. Last Thursday, the city council, two members of the city council, Mayor Pro Tem Pat Kearney and Councilmember Frank Talavera were at we had an event with the South Bay cities and council governments with the Southern California Regional Energy Network, presented the city with a bronze level achievement for 2025 South Bay Energy and Climate Recognition Program. Councilman Frank Talavera received the reward, and I'll pass it around to the council. So it was a nice event. It was well attended, and I'll just pass this around, and then you guys can. So I want to bring that up, and then I want to thank everyone for their comments tonight. The staff again, the community for all the support, the mayor and council, of course. Just thank you. It's been a wonderful time here, and thank you everyone for your support. And then Dina, we'll go out there and grab that window, the glass door thing. We'll get that. So we'll try to get that handled. And that concludes my report tonight. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let's go to items from the city council members. Let's hear from Councilmember Frank Talavera.
Okay, good evening. Again, I want to say thank you for being here tonight, and those that are watching on the different platforms where we broadcast our meetings. Thank you for being with us. On the 3rd, I was here at the time capsule revealed, so it was very interesting, and I'm looking forward to doing the next one, and have a few ideas of things I'd like to contribute. Also on the 5th, I attended the angel tree lighting. Once again, thank you, Jason, and your staff for such a wonderful event. I was surprised at the number of residents that came out and just enjoyed they were all happy, singing, and just enjoyed the time together, and I'm glad that they came out for the angel tree lighting. Like Dr. Moore said, I was present at the energy recognition ceremony from the South Bay COG, and to receive our recognition, our certificate. And on Friday, the 12th, I provided backup for Santa's sleigh. So it was good. First time there, and it was nice. It was really exciting. Saw some people that I knew. And on one stop, one of the Santa's helpers said, we gave out 35 suckers. So I think that was the #1 spot of the evening. So I was happy to be a part of that. I just want to also wish Dr. Moore good luck in his new position. It's been nice working with you. Thank you for all your support during this first year of my term. I appreciate all your help, and I just want to wish everyone a blessed and Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Suarez.
So I just had a couple, the South Bay City's Council of Government Traffic Committee meeting, which I was present for. We did mainly focus on the position which the COG said to stay neutral. And then right after that, the Board of Directors meeting. I did attend the angel tree lighting, and yes, as my colleague mentioned, it was very packed, very packed. It's the most people I've ever seen. And then the other note that I want to make is for unfortunately, I couldn't make the Energy Award. I was at my grandfather's funeral. But in the future, if staff we could try to get platinum. So if we participate in more of the programs, we can reach the platinum level. So let's try for that next year. And with that, I just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And yeah, look forward to 2026.
Okay. Madam Cuevas.
All right, I was present during the time capsule. Very dusty, let's put it that way, but it was interesting on how much a home back 25 years cost. Now it's 100% increase of that cost. I liked it, and I am hoping to be here in 25 years, not sitting in council, because I'll be about 85, almost 90, but, you know, out there in the audience. I also attended the Angel Tree event. Thank you, Jason, and all staff that participated in it. Another great event. I believe this was one of our biggest holiday tree, angel tree lighting. And I think we need ornaments on that tree now. So for next year's budget, just add a little bit more and maybe we can make it happen, okay? But no, another great event. Maybe we should close the streets a little bit more to the south and north so that we could have more participants there. Something to think about. I want to thank staff because without staff, we wouldn't have received that award, the Energy Award. So thank you for getting us that accomplishment. Your heart is in our city, and I want to make sure that the award that the city received is also part of your hard work and recognition. It's not just the city, it's all of us, especially city staff. Thank you for being part of our city. Last thing, I wish everybody a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and hope everybody has a prosperous new year. And I'll see you in 2026. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Mr. Pro Tem, Pat Kern.
I also attended the special meeting, the time capsule reveal. It wasn't dusty until Councilman Cuevas opened up the banner. And there's all kinds of mosquitoes. I thought there was giant dragons in there. But it was a great event. I enjoyed it. Some people enjoyed the snacks more than others. I also attended the angel tree lighting, which was fantastic. Jason and staff did a great job, and like Councilwoman Cuevas said, we need to expand if we can because there was a grip of people out there. I attended the Lobby Trust and Oversight Committee meeting in Monterey Park. We paid out some money, we saved some money, and we're taking some of these people to court finally. I was the voting delegate for the South Coast AQMD LA City selection for our representative, which was Brenda Amos. She overwhelmingly won. I think there was no vote, one no vote, the rest was all yes. I attended the luncheon, the South Bay Energy and Climate Award ceremony luncheon. It was great, I enjoyed it. Like we said, we received the Bronze Award. I attended with City Clerk Harbison, Councilmember Talavera, and myself attended the Santa Sleigh on the 12th. It was fantastic. I think Councilman Talavera was overwhelmed seeing how many people out there appreciative of Santa Sleigh. Also, I attended the senior holiday lunch, which Councilman Talavera must have forgot, because, us seniors tend to forget. Yeah. And Councilman Talavera and myself, we were up there. Jason got a hold of 28 turkey dinners. I don't ask him how I got them. I don't want to know. But Councilman Talavera and I stood up there next to Jason, and it was a raffle drawing, and we got to hold signs like this that said, Amazon Fresh, and took pictures with all the winners. It was a great event. I enjoyed it. I know Councilman Talavera did. And I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, the whole 10 yards. Thank you.
Thank you. I too attended the Angel Tree event. That was a record number of crowd, great entertainment. A good time was had by all. And I want to thank Jason and his department for putting together such a great event. I also attended the revealing of the time capsule. I wasn't there was I here when they yeah, I guess I was here. Yeah, because that was 20 years ago, right? Yeah, I wasn't on the council. Was I on the council? Was I on the council?
No.
Yeah, I think I came in afterwards, but I was definitely a resident. Right. And so to see some of the things that was in the capsule, you really learned a lot about how the city was functioning in those days. Oh, you know what? I know I was on the council because I remember O'Neill, Nancy McGee, Earl Hoffman, and Larry. Yeah. I saw a picture of all of the council members, right? And I wasn't in it. So I guess, I wasn't on the council then. But yeah, I really learned a lot by opening the capsule. And what was, you mentioned that it was dusty, but the banner, you could smell the paint that they made the banner out of. So it seems like as if they made the banner and before it can air out, they put it in the they put it in the capsule because all the smells was in the banner, but it was very interesting. But I look forward to opening the capsule in the future. Dr. Moore, thank you and congratulations on your new role. We appreciate all the hard work you've done for the city, and we will miss you. At this time, I want to wish everyone a happy New Year's, a happy Kwanzaa, happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, and a happy New Year, right? So at this point, we'll go into closed session. Mr. City Attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. There are 3 items in closed session tonight. Despite there being 3 items, it shouldn't take extraordinarily long. The items are 1, significant exposure to litigation under Government Code 54956.9D2, and then public employee appointment, both of city manager under 54957B and potentially of an interim city manager under 54957B. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, we have returned from closed session. I'm going to ask the city attorney to give the report of the closed session.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. With respect to the item of potential litigation, the council received a briefing and held a discussion, but no reportable action was taken. With respect to item 17, appointment of an interim city manager, the council on a 3-0 to 2 vote with council members Talavera and Suarez abstaining, named Raylet Felton as the interim city manager. That will take effect upon Sean Moore's departure at the end of December 22nd. The council also gave direction on that Ms. Felton should name an acting city attorney for any absences when she will be away from the city. She will be doing so in the normal course of business. With respect to the appointment of a city manager, a briefing was given and a discussion held, but no reportable action was taken. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. City Attorney. Okay, it's time to adjourn. Let's hear from our city clerk.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Tonight, the Lawndale City Council would like to adjourn our meeting in honor of Harlika Obales. On Saturday, December 13th, 2025, Harlika Obales passed away. Harlika is a former Senior Citizen Advisory Committee member, a longtime active member of senior programs since 2007. She started as a program participant in our lunch program and travel club. Later, she started volunteering in the senior lunch program and special events. Most recently, Harlika started our Wellness for Seniors class as a volunteer instructor. Harlika was very passionate and committed to educating seniors on the importance of exercise, nutrition, and mental health. Harlika's dedication and commitment to the seniors of Lawndale will be greatly missed. On behalf of the Lawndale City Council, we extend our heartfelt condolences to the Obales family on their loss.
Okay, thank you, Madam City Clerk. The next regularly scheduled meeting of the City Council will be held at 6:30 p.m. on Monday, January 5th, 2026, in these here chambers. It is now 9:14. We are adjourned.